on the boys' side. Without a doubt, last week, the key result was Walton beating Wheeler for the first time since 2013. They had played, I thought it would be more than that, but just 9 times over the last decade, because Wheeler went down to 6A for a few years, but they obviously went back into the same region last year. And going back to 2013, Walton had a great team then. They get a narrow victory. The games remained actually really close. Wheeler and Walton have always played different styles of basketball. Walton's never had the size advantage, more of a deep shooting team. They'll slow down the pace of the game. You also have to realize, like, the last time Walton won, there wasn't even such thing as a shot clock. I mean, it's a whole different era we're in. And so they played 9 times over the course of that. They played twice last year. Wheeler completely blew them out. They obviously have a much different looking team this year. But for Walton, it was Luke Flynn, their top scorer, their leader. He's actually came back. I think that was his 3rd game, returning from the ankle injury. And he just was the difference maker in that game. He had 27 points and just balled out. They won that one 75-63. And we'll have our basketball rankings updated and released on Wednesday. But I'm looking at some other polls right now, the AJC one. And because Wheeler was so highly ranked, Walton has officially moved into the top 5. That is very intriguing. And we'll see if Walton's able to have a historic season. Had some great teams back in the early 2000s. Obviously, in 2013, had a great squad as well, but can they make another quarterfinal run? Obviously, securing a top seed would be huge, but they're going to have to face off against Wheeler again. So that is a very significant result on the boys' side. You had Berkmar. Looks like they dropped this week. They were toppled by a team out of DC in the Dream Classic. This was on MLK Day, 71-42. Pretty lopsided loss, but obviously national power. Peachtree Ridge, they remain in the top 10, and that was a result of Peachtree Ridge beating Berkmar 68-51 this last week. You had McEachern. This is the game that Jordan was at. They were at Milton. Ace Bailey did his thing, 31 points, 13 rebounds. We, of course, mentioned last week Ace Bailey has been the top player in the state this season, and he has produced a 40-point, 20-rebound game. So he's just been phenomenal every single outing this season. You had Grayson. Looks like they could be the team to beat this year. They beat Bishop McNamara in the Dream Classic 78-55. And of course, Grayson and McEachern squared off the first game of the season in that 1-2 position. Same thing that we saw in 4A with Pace Academy and McDonough, except they aren't in the same region, but you got to think that those teams are on a collision course once again. You had Buford playing region rival Decula. They won 59-47. Decula slid after a result of that. And then Camden County, they cracked the top 10 in a lot of people's polls with the return of Elias Williams, 5-star tight end, Georgia commit. He came in, played the first several games, had about 15 points per game, made a big impact. However, they lost an overtime game to Rains, Florida, and then to Andrew Jackson, Florida. 2 straight losses, drops into 16-4. Looks like they're out of some of these other polls, but we'll have to analyze that, and we'll see if the Wildcats remain. In Class 6A, number 3, St. Pius. 6A has been really interesting with, you have Jonesboro battling with Woodward Academy. You have a lot of teams behind Alexander, who's really come on strong the last week, are